Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome back to the Imperfect Momming podcast, if you are listening on the podcast. And if you're in our Raising Enlightened Children Facebook group, welcome to something that we have not figured out the title of yet, but formerly known as Mom Happy Hour. So we are having our community and conversation about modern parenting today. So Melanie is here as well. She and I are pairing up, working together in Raising Enlightened Children. So you're going to see both of our faces a lot more from now on.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. And yes, the intention of us switching from the Mommy Happy Hour to the community and conversation is really for us to have a support group, a place for us to come, a safe space for us to, there may or may not be a topic as we move forward. And, if there is a topic of conversation, we will obviously address it. And if not, it may just be Q&A or questions and answers. It may just be you want to come and get support around something. Maybe you just want to, just chat about what's going on with you in the mommy world. And so we just really want to provide a space and hold a space to be in support of each other as moms. I mean, this is really a can be a very lonely journey, and it can be a challenging one, clearly. And I think, I mean, Alicia and I have had many discussions about this, and the thing that really makes a difference for us, we feel, as moms and parents, is to get the support that we need.
Absolutely, because in other countries, there's that African proverb that says that it takes a real village to raise a child, and I've mentioned that on my podcast probably 150 times, and it's true, and we've gotten to this place where we've isolated ourselves. I was going through my phone and I'd screenshotted someone saying, when you become a mom, you lose all your friends. And it can be true, and it doesn't have to be either. So we want to have a place for you to come where you feel safe, have a safe space to bring your challenges and get support with people that have gone through it or know the tools to make the learning curve a little bit easier. So that's kind of the topic today. One of my clients was in the grocery store with her daughter in the line, and her daughter had a teddy bear, and the mom behind her with the kid behind her, the kid got very fixated on my client's daughter's teddy bear. And the mom said to my client, "Your daughter should give her bear to my daughter." And it turned into, an argument, as I'm sure you can imagine. But the conversation that she and I had, she said, "I don't understand modern parents." And I said, "Well, what does that mean, modern parents?" Because I had a different thought than what she defined. I ultimately agreed with her definition, but I had a different thought initially. And she said, these parents who think that their kids are perfect and they're allowed to do anything that they want, no rules, no consequences, or they think their kid's just going to grow out of it. And that's not great parenting. Our kids aren't going to grow out of stuff. Like, they need us to guide them. And Melanie has a thought in her brain, and I see it on her face, so I'm gonna let her go. She didn't like what I said. That's not great parenting, I can tell.
Actually, yeah, I love that, Alicia and I are both coaches, and so we can read things that are just beyond what's actually being said. So now she can actually read my face, which is hilarious.
I heard it.
Actually,
I was like, oh,
yeah.
I shouldn't have said that.
No, absolutely not. That is not what I was thinking. So that was an incorrect mind read. That's
Incorrect
not
mind
about incorrect mind read. It's not about what we should or shouldn't say, because that would be me judging you, right? And we can absolutely have differences of opinion. And I think this is such a perfect segue into what my thought was, because what I was reacting to, what you saw in my face, was your client's opinion, that the other mom thought that she has the perfect child.
Mhm.
And so when you said that about your client, what came to my mind is, I'm not necessarily sure that that is what this other mom was thinking when her child was tantruming for the bear of another kid. What I perceive, I mean, I wasn't there, so obviously I am just guessing, but what I perceive what might have been happening is that the other mom whose kid was tantruming felt possibly stressed and wanting to give her child what her kid was tantruming for, to get her child to calm down.
Right.
Not because she thought her child was necessarily perfect, but my guess is because she, as a mom, didn't have the skills to know what else to do other than to just, in that moment, just give in, indulge her kid, to get her kid to regulate and calm down. And then your client made the assumption, right, and judged the mom for whatever it was that mom was feeling or saying. And even you, like, we're so easy to then judge ourselves, like for you to go, oh, Melanie thinks I shouldn't have said that. Like, we so quickly go to that place. And for me, really, what it could have been, I don't know, again, I wasn't there, I didn't get a chance to speak to the other mom that was in the line, I didn't get a chance to speak to your mom, but what it could have been, from what I'm hearing, is it could have been that because that mom didn't know what else to do, and all she has done is indulge her child, she's not recognizing. And let me pause for a second, because your client was then, she's calling that modern parenting, but for the mom who didn't know what else to do other than indulge her child, if our kids are letting us know when they need help, our kids are letting us know when they need skill building, and that is our job as parents, to be able to teach our kids how to regulate themselves, right? Or help, because their brains literally their brains are not developed. A boy's brain does not develop until he's 28, and a girl's brain doesn't develop until she's 24. And I know I'm saying this in the genders, but that's the way I've learned it, right? And so their brains are literally underdeveloped. And so we are, in some ways, like their external brains. And this is why this parenting, like learning the parenting tools, is so important. It's so that we can get the skills, because we didn't learn those growing up. One of the things I've heard you say, and you have in your book, Alish, is, our kids are watching the show, they're not listening to the lecture. Well, guess what? We watched the show, and I don't know what lecture we were hearing. And so if we want to parent differently than the way we were parented, if that hasn't been modeled for us, and we don't have alternative tools in our toolbox to use, were kind of like, it's sort of like the Wild West. And that's why these communities, that's why these programs are so important, so that we can fill our toolboxes with the tools, get the support that we need, so that we can then teach the skills to our kids who are desperately seeking them.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, that we were watching the show and our parents didn't have the skills. A lot of the skills that we have now, a lot of these tools that Melanie and I are teaching, have been developed in our lifetime.
Right.
You know, in the past, like they say, they say that there's no parenting guide. Well, there's about 60,000 parenting books. I've Googled it. And yes, you're going to get different opinions in every single book. And who has time for 60,000 to read 60,000 books? Melanie went a different route, and she went to parent education classes and became certified as a parent educator. And she learned the tools. And I've heard her say, like, these tools are magic when she learned them, because she went home and she tried it and it worked. And I remember in my journey with my son that the school that he was in, the program he was in, they taught me something as simple as asking my son, are you all done? Like, all done eating, all done ball, all done park. Like, it's just, and I remember thinking that was magic, because now I was speaking his language, so he understood me, and I was getting responses that I wanted, versus throwing yourself down on the ground because you don't want to leave the park. Okay, oh, did you want more time? Yeah, okay, can you ask me for more time? Instead, I mean, I have had some reactions that I'm not proud of, and I was doing the best that I had with the tools and the resources I had at the time. And then I learned new tools, and we stopped having those reactions. And this stuff has come out, I want to say, in the last 20 years. Melanie probably knows the inception of some of these tools.
Well, actually, as you said, Alicia, like, we felt, both of us were like, oh my gosh, this is magic. And I definitely, when my twins, who are 20 now, they're going to be 21 in a couple months, which is just like, wait, what? But when they were little, is when I started, like, literally when they were infants, I started taking parenting classes. And then when they were around 2 was when I took a parenting class, and I literally implemented the tools and felt like, oh my gosh, this is magic. And I said to my then friend, who then became my first business partner at the time, we have to teach this. Like, this is too good. We have to teach this. We have to learn these tools, and we have to teach these tools. And then I went on and got a few other certifications in courses, and they all were related. They're all sort of similar types of courses. It was, and I got trained in reflective parenting as well, and positive discipline, and it was redirecting children's behavior, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, and but they all resonated, and they all resonated for me. Like, they were different programs, but there was similarities, and there was a thread, right, that was similar in then. And like you said, there's 60,000 books. I don't know if you've researched how many podcasts there are, or if you've researched how many YouTube videos there are, or if you, I mean, it is mind blowing how much information there is. And so I believe, like, this is my feeling, is what I shouldn't say what we need to do. I can say what worked for me is I found what felt in alignment for me. That's when I knew I had found my right tribe. I had found my right support circles. And what ended up happening, and one of the things that you and I have bonded tremendously over, is the very first parenting book you read was No Drama Discipline, if I'm correct, when Xander was 6. And that was a huge game changer when I met Dr. Dan Siegel and Dr. Tina Bryson. And then I actually worked with Tina, Dr. Bryson, for a couple of years, literally. Like, I actually went into her, she ran a parenting support group, and Also we had a professional group where we would meet afterwards. And what I learned is behind the quote unquote magic is there actually literally is brain science.
Yeah.
It is how our brains are wired and how our brains work. Dr. Dan Siegel is the founder of what's called the Mindsight Institute at UCLA. He's written multiple books, academic books, as well as several different parenting books, as well as several different books on like meditation and awareness, etc. I mean, he's a brain guru who's absolutely brilliant, as is Dr. Tina Bryson. And learning that there is literally like brain wiring stuff. I'm not a neuroscientist, right? But learning that there's actually stuff that is going on in the brain that is impacting and affecting the way we react, the way we show up, the way our kids are showing up, was huge for me, because it's not magic. It's actually science. And understanding that, and we don't all have to understand the science. It's just if we use these tools in a way that they're intended to be used, it literally does, like you've experienced and I've experienced, it literally does feel like magic.
Yeah. And the one thing that I do want to thank you for all of that, because it's fun to think of it as magic. And some people are like not magic people and want to know the science. So like it's both. But I do want to touch on their kids, and they'll grow out of it. And I'm fairly certain I've shared this on the podcast before, but I'm going to share it again, because when I was a kid, I would be asked to do a chore or anything. And if I didn't want to, I would just whine until somebody else did it. And let me tell you how I have not grown out of that. I am a 41-year-old woman as of last Friday. So happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you. Woo-hoo.
And I am 41 years old and I am still doing that. Like we're currently updating our website and I kind of don't want to do it. And so I whined. I'm using air quotes.
By the way, I just have to interject. She didn't whine to me because she knew there was no help coming in this direction. Just saying.
I did. I learned in my direct sales business that you complain up. Melanie and I
I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there.
Yeah.
My technology could use help. Let's just say that. My technology skills. Go ahead. Sorry, my love. Totally interrupted.
No, you're good. And I have a friend that's helped me with just about every single website that I've ever built. And I was like, would you pretty please do it like with sugar on top? And so, you know, it's also nice that I learned to ask for what I need. And we have a special guest now. My child has woken up and looks like it.
Good morning, Xander. And I love how his shirt matches the background of our beaches.
It does. We just got back from
sweetheart.
A beach in Texas, and this is his Texas beach shirt that we bought. And yeah, so yeah, it's
whining. Let's go back to whining.
Yeah,
and you were saying what they taught you. So if I can just say, because I know you're spending a minute with Xander right now. So basically what I don't want to put words in Alicia's mouth, but the reality is that our kids don't grow out of things, just as we don't grow out of things. What we do is we learn skills, and the more we repeat them, the more ingrained they become. And for me, like I learned growing up how to yell. And, you know, I grew up in a yelling household. And so when my kids were little, that was my default. And I would actually often start my classes when my kids were little and say, hi, like my name is Melanie, I'm a recovering yeller. And it took me a long time to unlearn what I had learned. And so it's not something that I grew out of. It's something that I actually had to intentionally learn how to unlearn. and what to replace that with, what could I do instead? And so going back to the brain, again, using Dr. Dan Siegel and Dr. Tina Bryson, neurons that fire together, wire together. And so what Alicia did was what our kids do is they end up training us. And she trained her mom to give in. And she learned, like she was the one training her mom. She learned that if she just kept whining, she was going to get her way. And so really we have to go back to being intentional about our parenting and decide, what is it that we want? What is it that we want to be teaching our kids? What is it that we want to be learning ourselves?
Vander, did you want to say something really quick? What do you want to say?
I grew out of my shirt.
He said he grew out of his shirt.
There you go. You see, it's like you can grow out and unlearn just like you grow out of your skills. It does, but it takes growing, and thank you for that, Xander, because what you're describing is a physical growing, but the truth is when we grow mentally and when we grow emotionally, we can grow out of bad habits. We can grow out of or grow into. And so this is actually what the topic of our workshop, Alicia and I are doing a workshop this coming Saturday. It's a free workshop in the Facebook group. And if anyone wants to join us, which is Calm the Chaos, and we really are going to talk about what goes on inside of our brains. And it's not going to be, as I said, I'm not a neuroscientist. And so it's not going to be that, kind of medical technical, but just in a more general way so that we can understand how it is our brains are operating, how it is our kids' brains are operating from the perspective of what skills can we learn to put in or take out, grow into or grow out of.
Yeah. I'm very excited about our workshop on Saturday. If you want to register for it, right now it's still housed under alicialyons.com/events. And you can register there. You'll get an email with the Zoom link to join us. And if you can't make it live, you will get the replay if you are registered. So we are happy to share all of this magic and science with you. And it's going to be Saturday, August 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And any final thoughts for the rest of our episode or live right now?
So what we're planning to do for this workshop is, I don't know if you said this, Alish, but it's going to be a 90-minute workshop. And what we're hoping to do is do some presentation and then also have some time for us to interact with Q&A. And, we will be joining live on Tuesday mornings going forward at 9 a.m. And we're going to keep it really at 9 a.m. Pacific. And we're going to keep it really open and fluid. And if there's a topic, like I said, I know I'm repeating what I said at the beginning, but if there's a specific topic we want to cover, we'll do that. And if there's just, people live and we want to do Q&A, we're going to do that. And we're just going to be organic and see how it goes. But we want to have this safe and supportive community so that we can all learn from each other.
So important to don't mom alone.
Don't mom alone. I love that. Don't mom alone.
Yeah. So we will have a episode of Imperfect Momming podcast coming for you all on Thursday, and we'll be back on Tuesday with our community and conversation in the Raising Enlightened Children Facebook group. So if you're listening on the podcast and you're not part of the group, come on and join us so you can be part of our supportive community. And until we meet again, keep healing. Bye,
keep
guys.
healing. Bye, guys. Thanks, Alish.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit alicialyons.com. That's ALYSIALYONS.com. See you next time.